Let's bring in Jamal Abdi. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. He's president of the National Iranian-American Council. Jamal, so yet more sanctions being imposed on Iran and its oil shipping network. The message from Washington here, I suppose, is clear. They're keeping up the pressure on Iran.
That's absolutely the message that Washington is sending. And this is really a reflection of the fact that for the White House, for the Trump administration, the policy is maximum pressure. And with the prospects of negotiations with Iran, with the efforts that the French have undertaken, there is this threat that the United States and Iran may actually talk to one another. And so what we're really seeing is an attempt, I think, to scuttle any chance for talks, which hardliners here in the United States view as premature until the U.S. can actually impose maximum pressure, which would look a lot like an embargo of Iran, which would require that Europe and the rest of the world actually come on board, which right now they are on the other side of the United States when it comes to Iran policy.
Yeah, and Iran has further warned it'll scale back its commitments under the 2015 deal. And we also saw that France tried to propose some kind of financial waiver to keep the deal alive. But of course, Washington is having none of it. So what's Iran's next move, Jamal?
So Iran is playing this balancing act in which it is attempting to meet U.S. pressure with counterpressure. But in so doing, it also is trying to be careful to not alienate Europe and the rest of the international community that is currently on Iran's side. So as the United States escalates its sanctions, Iran is taking steps very patiently and almost pragmatically to violate elements of the nuclear deal. And I think it's very interesting that the steps that were announced are actually less grave than what had been previously expected. There was an expectation that Iran was actually going to raise its enrichment levels closer to weapons grade. They're not doing that. But I think some of these new sanctions may actually at least be an attempt to goad Iran to do something that does cause Iran to lose the support of the international community.
Yeah, and despite the hawkish noises being made by National Security Advisor John Bolton and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, President Trump has said repeatedly that he would meet the Iranian president. Is that likely to happen, do you think?
I think that the odds of that are extremely low for the time being. And that's because we're not talking about a negotiation. We're talking about a photo op. For the Iranians, for Hassan Rouhani, they've already been humiliated by previous interactions with the United States. So the prospect of showing up hat in hand for a photo with Donald Trump, I think, is not going to happen.
Just a final thought, Jamal. How is this playing out then politically for Trump in the run-up to the U.S. elections? I mean, Trump has failed to achieve any big deals under his foreign policy, but he'd love to, I suppose, brag that he's made deals with North Korea and possibly now Iran.
I do think Donald Trump probably does want a deal, probably thinks that this would help him. But on the other hand, I think that Donald Trump has talked about the possibility of war being a political winner. And for the Iranians, I think they want a deal as well. But if it's not something that's going to happen, they will likely escalate at a time when it's very crucial for the U.S. economy to be successful for Trump. And so there's a very dangerous game that could play both ways and could actually put the risk of war at the highest level that we've seen leading up to the U.S. elections.
Jamal Abdi, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.